Ahoy, ahoy, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Ramble On Rotten.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I know. We're still getting used to this whole webcam only reviews.
I mean, it's only sad when we can look and then just working. There we go. I had to make you a little bit bigger. I'm like, you're too small. And then you're also, I really wish you were in HD and I wish I had given you one of my microphones, but who knew that all this was going to happen?
Well, I mean, I did order an HD webcam, but the great thing about that is I ordered it through eBay, and the guy said it should be delivered by Monday, and it's still not even being tracked, so I'm getting my refund on Tuesday.
So like if you don't get the webcam, then you're going to be
correct
hitting him up. Got it.
Hitting up style.
Yes. Well, I mean,
who would have imagined that every webcam out there in existence gets bought out?
Did you have to buy it from eBay? Like, did you look other places and just
no? Like, it's literally sold out. They're sold out on Amazon. They're sold out Best Buy. At least the price range I'm looking at. Like, I'm not going to drop $500 for a webcam.
Oh God, no. I think this one was like 30 when I
bought it.
Yeah,
that's the price range I'm looking, 30 to 60.
Yeah.
And yeah, sold out everywhere.
God, that's nuts. It's one of those things that you don't think about, like, given the social distancings and the times that we're in now. Like, I'm trying to think what I actually looked. I figured, like, I could buy toilet paper when this first happened. I'm like, I could buy that online, and then it was just like, oh no, those just don't exist. Did you see the Scooby-Doo meme where it was like, who could have been behind this? And they unmask the ghoul, and then it's just a logo of Zoom. I was like, that's funny.
Zoom stealing your information.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. That's why we record on Skype.
That's right. Thanks, Microsoft.
Right. For preloading this software on our computers and your Chromebook.
Right. That's right. But speaking of technology, hey, segue!
Now everyone can see our dumb looks on our face. So we can do these. I don't know what those motions were, but we're also
cruising on the Segway.
Oh, so it's just like self-leveling, just like. I will have to say, we'll put it out now. We'll put it out at the end. If there's something people want us to talk about, let us know, because I thought about pitching that to you and I didn't do it. I thought about like going through the ones we had and just saying, hey, we can make a poll. What do y'alls want us to? The royal you-alls. Right. What do y'alls want us to watch and review? This was go ahead with your technology segue, because I just stole it from you.
Right. So what we're going to be reviewing is celebrating a movie that came out 5 years ago this week, and that is the 2015 movie written, directed by Alex Garland, Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Yep. Now, I know when we agreed to review this, I've already watched it. It was already in my top 3 of that year. Dan, this was your first time watching it. So really quickly, for the people, give your initial thoughts on Ex Machina.
It was weird for me having watched this because I saw his second film first. I went and saw Annihilation in theaters. Yeah. So it had, it was that weird thing where it was bought by Netflix, but then it had a limited run in theaters, maybe like a couple of weeks, a month possibly. And so it was interesting. I went with a good friend of the show, Jim Garrison. We went and saw this together. And when I saw Annihilation, I'm like, that was weird. Had I seen Ex Machina first, knowing the style of filmmaking that Alex Garland does and like how he's a storyteller, and like really delving into like the motifs and things that he would like to do, I probably would have enjoyed Annihilation more. Seeing Ex Machina first, I like it because the questions they're asking, which we're going to get to, I'm sure, is much more like they're a little bit telegraphed, but they're also most things are discussed in the movie with the exception of like the imagery and the alliteration and like what they're referring to. But a lot of the actual topics are discussed in the film. When you get to Annihilation, it's kind of like you really have to dig for a lot of Annihilation to like make sense. And this one, I like that it was much more not paint by numbers, because that's oversimplifies it, but it's like he's showing a lot more in Ex
Hmm.
Machina than he did in Annihilation. And I, especially because I also wanted to mention that this is a very good social distancing movie. So it was one of the things that was good for us to watch because, you know, you have two humans and then X number of robots in one compound, and that's all I
Yep.
got. But I did enjoy it. I think this is one of those movies that you gain more the more you see it. Um, and God, Oscar Isaac, what a treasure.
Right. Well, the entire cast is fantastic, and that's one of the things I love about this film because there's really just three actors. I mean, there's the
Yes,
other like
Kiko.
yeah, Kiko, the other robot assistant, and then like the
Hmm.
helicopter pilot, and then like the people in the first montage, you know, in the opening montage of like people who are in the office with Donald Gleason. But that's
Dom
it.
Domhnall, or however you pronounce
Nom.
it.
But yeah, those are you only get three actors, and they all act their asses off in this.
And there's a lot going on. I feel like Domhnall has the most like outside of Eve, he has a really interesting arc to as
Yes.
far as like what he's feeling and what he's going through. Obviously, as far as what you deal with, this is it's a rotten. So I would say full spoilers because we need to always
Right.
distinguish that. So,
These are all we
which
always spoil it rotten for you.
we do. But what she goes through and like reading a little bit about this like after I went through it, by the time you get to, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but by the time you get to Eve day or session 7 where like
Hmm.
everything's already happened on day 6 and it's like, oh man, was she like testing them the whole time? Like what are your questions are as far as that goes? And so then I love the idea of Nathan just kind of being a constant. Like
Yep.
the fact that he's always used to being the most clever person in the room really shows. And like his rant, I love Oscar Isaac. Like his rant, I'll have to put up the gif just with the slow eye open.
Yeah.
Like it's not even purposeful, but it's such a great gif because I don't know who happened to take that in super high shutter speed and just what a talented man. What a talented cast.
Yes, very talented. So before we get into more than spoilers, let's do a brief summary of this movie. Caleb Smith, Domhnall Gleeson, a
Domhnall.
programmer at a large internet company, wins a contest that enables him to spend a week in a private estate of Nathan Bateman, Oscar Isaac, his firm's brilliant CEO. When he arrives, Caleb learns that he's been chosen to be the human component in a test to determine the capabilities and consciousness of Ava, Alicia Van Kander, a beautiful robot. However, it seems evident that Ava is far more self aware and deceptive than either man imagined. Na na na. Actually, really quickly, my thoughts on this, because like I said, I watched
Yeah.
this years ago when it first came out. I loved it that year. When I got to watch it again this week, I was really excited because the first time I watched it, it was on one of writer of color extraordinaire Nathan Zoll's screeners. So it was a
Uh,
DVD version on my old TV, but now it's on Netflix. So I get to see it in all of its glorious 4K, and oh my god, it's so pretty. There's a
it's
reason it won the Oscar for best special effects on a
an
budget
immediate
of $15 million.
and it beat out. There were a lot of other. Oh, it was Force Awakens. That was the
Yep.
big thing that year. That it was people were shocked that it beat out. And I remember watching one of the. Have you ever got into Corridor Crew's reaction videos?
Mm-mm.
So Corridor Crew, I'll definitely shout them out and give them a plug. They are visual effects artists who have a YouTube channel and they've like made their own videos. But one of their most popular series is VFX artists react to, and it was one of the first ones. And they talked about how the visual effects in Ex Machina worked, where you had like showing the detail going through her arms. Like there's that one scene where she's holding up the photo like this, but like
Mm-hmm.
she has this because the camera's moving and because she's moving and the technology wasn't quite there yet. Like they had to go and map like each little individual frame and like just all the subtle movements. Like I don't know the company that did the effects for this movie off the top of my head, but like it's astounding what they pulled off with
Yeah.
$15 million.
Oh yeah. Like it was breathtaking. And when I saw it, the thing my first thought was it actually reminded me of an old Twilight Zone episode called The
Yep.
Howling Man. Have you ever watched that one?
Possibly. Do you know? Can you nutshell it for me?
So pretty much, this one dude shows up he's like lost in the mountains in Europe. He comes across this monk who's living in a monastery, and then there's this guy who's locked up in this prison. He keeps asking the hitchhiker guy who was lost, "Free me! You don't know this monk."
Okay.
And then he frees him, and apparently the guy was the devil the entire time.
Oh, the guy who was
Who was in
asking to be
prison?
freed.
Yep.
Twists like that are really like it. I'm kind of surprised Ex Machina went with something as straightforward as, because there's a couple of turns, but they're very telegraphed and they kind of show you what happens after it happens.
I saw them like telegraphing it more the second time than I did the first time.
Sure.
Maybe because I was just enjoying it so much the first time. I was like, I don't care. It's pretty.
This was also a very good companion piece. Me and B, we just finished the first season of Westworld. So like having that kind of a story fresh in my mind, which is a very, very similar story to this one. Mind you, this one, Ex Machina, is much more straightforward, but it was really nice to like watch it after that first season of Westworld. And you kind of like, I feel like they show you kind of not even the Hollywood ending, because there's going to be a twist, something's going to happen, especially like I remember all the trailers and it was played off much more as like a suspense movie, but I feel like a Twilight Zone is a very apt description for it because I love that kind of suspense, that kind of sci-fi. And
right, like M. Night Shyamalan, I watched this and going, damn it! Walked out of the theater.
Alex Garland, you son of a bitch.
You outdid me. I'll get you.
But the first one where it's like they're talking about how they need to get her out of there and like he needs to help her. But then when Nathan's like, she's been playing you, it's not so much who to believe, it's just like it's a good way of storytelling that like everyone has their own truth. Because she's playing multiple sides. Caleb thinks he's altruistic.
Yes,
Nathan
Caleb thinks he is the hero. Nathan's the monster, and he's going to be the one who saves the damsel in distress. But lo and behold, that is not the case. And I still love the conversation where, like, the realization of, again, it's probably one of my favorite scenes with Oscar Isaac, where he's like playing the video back. It's like, here, let's listen to it with sound. Boop, 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 boop. He's playing this, and then like Donald's just like, did you base her appearance on like porn history?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but it's fine. It's okay.
I don't think he ever straight up says yeah, but he definitely is just
he implied it.
Oh no. He does. Like he does do it, but he never says yes, I did. He just kind of goes, he's like, what else would I do with that information? Like something like that. I love the way that they used the actual like search. He was like, that's how you got AI, which was from people's search histories. And like just this movie doesn't
go through and clear your cache and cookies.
Right, like Google's watching. Because I like that the movie doesn't get bogged down in technology. Like they touch on it, but it's never like, how do these things work? It's much more hypothetical, or even not hypothetical, but philosophical is the word I was looking. So that was one of the things I definitely enjoyed about it.
Okay, so like I liked how it's like it's supposed to be a week, and they actually do a good job at playing that out with the different sessions, like naming out, session 1, session 2. So that's how they tell you how time's passed instead of like, okay, you don't feel like you're there for a week, but they do a good job making you be like, oh yeah, it's been a week. Especially like that last day where like he's just like, making breakfast. It's like, man, I feel great. It's last day. Let's do this.
Brown rice and mineral water for me. I'm not drinking.
Not drinking today.
They also said that was it was a reference to the fact that he kept drinking. There's so many reading up on it that it was a Greek mythology reference, and it might have been to Prometheus, where after he stole fire, like he was burdened by the knowledge, and it was like the reference was that because he stole the fire, it was like he was constantly punishing himself and like punishing his liver. And I can't
Well,
remember.
yeah,
I
because
think
he had Vulture pecking at his liver because the guys were
exactly.
mad at him. Okay, I could see that now.
So that's one of the things I said. There's a lot more, like doing a little bit of
Oh yeah,
reading
there's
about
a
it.
lot of layers to this film, especially when you like just ask a simple question like, "Who's the good guy?"
Who's the good guy? What is consciousness?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. I liked one of the other things I read was they put her in white at the end of the movie to where so it's supposed to represent innocence, even though she when in order to go out into the world, she literally has to kill her creator and then maroon the person who helped her escape.
Oh god, that last scene of I love how Alex played with the sound in that, where
Yeah.
you don't hear him scream,
Yep. Oh
but
no.
it's just music playing in the background, and you just see her walk by, and you're just like, "Oh man."
And the pounding of the stool against the door that you don't hear.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely a highlight of his creative mind because you get that again in Annihilation
Oh yeah.
with the bear scene.
You mean the nightmare fuel scene?
Yes. Um, I'm curious. I think he the one who started Devs. I think he has a new television
Yeah,
show
on Hulu,
or
FX.
FX,
Yeah,
one of the two. So yeah, but that'll be interesting to see
yeah,
how
that's
that
another
kind of
one of his
storytelling goes.
projects. Yep.
hmm I mean, and then you have to, but it's like, so who's the good guy? Who is right? Um, where do you go from there? Like, it's one of those things where it's a nice little capsule. Like I said, it was social distancing, but it's a good little encapsulation of, you know, things going forward of like just a good story and where you go from here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I heard something. I didn't know if it was you or me though.
Yeah, okay. Well, remember, I'm in my basement, so if my wife or dog are running around upstairs, you'll hear creaks.
Oh, true. It's possible, but like, is there someone you seem to side more with when you're watching this than others?
Honestly, it's going to sound weird because I know you know my personality, but Oscar Isaac is the guy who's right the entire time.
I mean, I can, and that's the thing. This would be a
It
good thing for
comes
us to
down to the
debate.
old expression where it's like, who do you trust, the devil you know or the devil you don't know? And like I'm like if I was in that situation, if I was Caleb in that situation, I'd be trusting everything Oscar Isaac is telling me.
Yes, and to be fair, he's his boss. He's pretty honest from he's not honest from the get go, but like he was much more constant than either one of them. Like his
Yeah.
behaviors are not they're deceitful, but they're not nefarious. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely he's trying to keep his scientific method pure, which is why he checked him, but he didn't like expect him. He was like, I just needed a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, and that's all
Right. You're
he
not.
would,
There's nothing special about you. You're not a brilliant programmer. You're not this. You're just
which,
exactly what I needed for this.
but that totally shoots him in the foot, which is the interesting part.
Right.
Because, like, had he not brought in a programmer, had he brought in somebody else from a different department, this movie doesn't go down the way it does. Like, because
Good thing I
if he
brought
gets,
Walt from HR.
yeah, good thing I got the fucking janitor, and
Oh,
he'll
he's
be
a
able to clean
contractor.
things up.
Contractors are not eligible for a sweepstake like that.
But that's what I'm saying is like he did it, and I feel like that's how maybe to kickstart the story to make it make sense. That's one of the reasons you had to have a programmer. But like, if he's not a programmer, not like the third
Well,
act of the movie
yeah,
doesn't happen.
right, exactly. Because if it was like me, if I was there and I'm going through all this, and she's trying to do that the next day, I'm like, hey, buddy, just so you know, she's trying to convince me to help her break out. Just saying. Now let's
Right.
dance. That was a great choreographed dance
it's such a,
sequence.
it's such a like random scene in the middle of the
Right.
movie.
Like
It
that,
just
it's such a great legit. He's just like, you know what? I needed that. Because the next scene is when Donald Gleason's like cutting his arm open to make sure he's like,
oh my god.
"Am I a robot?"
That scene, oh, that was probably the most visually like so that's what everyone this is similar to me. Everyone talks about the bear scene in Annihilation. The scene that got me so much more
Oh,
in
the
Annihilation The stomach one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stomach one, because it's similar to where they're both very visually striking, but like, and the fact that Nate Oscar Isaac calls him out, he's like, dude, you're gone. Like, I saw you take the razor and just like,
Right.
brr. And it's like, because I'm watching a scene and I'm like, like it's
You
such
know,
a
I almost
graphic
forgot
scene.
that scene was in there. So when it started happening, I got to experience it anew. Like,
Uh,
oh no.
because
Oh,
I understand the thought to where he was, because it does such a good job with the storytelling. I understand why he would be like how much, what is real with this going on, like what isn't
mhm.
real, like how fucking deep does this go, and like it to get to, I feel like he has, and that's what they said, like another reason like his Caleb's character was so important to all this is knowing all that and knowing all the schooling he had done for it. He really gets to that point where he's like, I know he has the burden of knowledge in this situation, because he knows
Yes.
like what it's been dealt with, and like essentially what all the ethical implications, the moral implications, everything about what he's currently going through. And then he's like that actually pairs really well. I won't spoil anything of Westworld, because we're just talking Ex Machina and Alex Garland,
Right.
but like that pairs super well with parts of Westworld.
Well, another movie that compares well to that moment is the Blade Runner series.
Yep. It's much more, especially because they turn it on its head so much
But
in
it's
both
much more
movies.
visceral, I would say, than the Blade Runner movies.
Yes.
I mean, at least that sequence. But I mean, he still asks the question: "Is like, are you human?
Yeah.
What makes a human?"
Yeah. And I think he was kind of expected. I half expected, once he started going in and cutting, I half expected him to like to go, because he plays with it a little, but I expected him to like pull
Go
apart and start looking. Yeah. And that's what I was waiting for. And I'm like,
covering your cat's eye. No, don't watch this.
don't, Finn, don't do it. Cover your eyes. There we go. I don't think the cats watched it with me when I watched it earlier in the week. But yeah, tiny cast.
Yeah, but it was such a great cast. I mean, and like it's one of those things where like I know it's cliche to say, but like you wish they make more movies like this, but they don't. You don't get a strong ensemble, hard sci-fi movie made for under $20 million.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm curious because I have it in front of me. Let me see if I can pull up real quick how much Annihilation was made for.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's right here.
I think Annihilation was 70.
I feel like it would have had to have been more. There we go. 40.
Wait,
So now that I feel like it really should be that I feel like they just aren't good at marketing. They're not good at marketing mid-budget films anymore. You get like micro or macro, and there's
yeah,
nothing in between, which is,
you're right. And this is one of those movies that fell in between.
yeah. Well, and I would even I mean, 15 is pretty close to micro, and the fact that it became an Oscar winner, like I'm sure it's made its money back
Oh yeah,
at,
probably.
at this at
And
this point.
also, it's getting talked about by us, which I'm sure is going to help.
The bump. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that ramble
yeah,
on bump.
the Rambo on bump. I'm just
Oh
saying, we
man.
talked about Endgame, and it became the highest grossing movie of all time.
There's You're welcome, world.
You're welcome, Kevin Feige.
Yeah, so it looks like box office worldwide, Ex Machina, the budget was 15, and worldwide it made almost 37.
Okay,
So it probably broke even.
right.
I don't think, I know Annihilation had
Well,
it
I know
had
in Annihilation, because I had that deal with Netflix, nobody went to see worldwide,
well,
at least.
but that's so other way around. I thought it was like it had a worldwide release, but it didn't have an American release
No,
or something.
it did have a release because I remember me and Sarah were going to go see it, but then she saw one review of it. She's like, "Nope, not going. Too scary."
It's yeah, but that only made it looked like worldwide Annihilation only made 43. So
Right, because that, like I said, that's because that's the one that had that deal with Netflix. Because people were like, because it was available in other countries on Netflix. That's why they're like, why would we pay to see it when it's going to be on Netflix in 2 weeks.
Well, the fact that it still made 40 million, even though the budget was only, or it made 43 and the budget was 40, makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it makes sense, but I'm saying that's still somewhat impressive since it was already going to be going to Netflix.
Right.
But no, I like you. I hope that we could have more, not even simple stories, but like stories that are told well, and you don't need effects heavy driven. I'm hoping like maybe from this pandemic and whatnot and stuff like that, you get actual people for filmmakers because they're trying, like, you write what you know, and right now I'm hoping it's not just strictly all quarantine social distancing based.
I mean, me and the real Anthony Dane me and Tony are working on a side project where we're going to turn into a slapstick comedy.
Oh boy.
What? I know I need to dump him with my best friend, but we just got put into quarantine.
You need a
Well,
what was the first part? You need a what with your best friend?
I need to distance myself from him, but he's over here. But now we're under quarantine. Ay, caramba.
You just completely ripped Bart Simpson's catchphrase.
Yes, I did.
You did, but you do it in a
He
different.
hasn't used it in years.
Sure. Oh man, hold on. A throwback to what we talked about last time. And even though we're recording, I meant to tell you this earlier, but it's funny. Just because of the cadence of it, B told me earlier, she told me a joke where it was roses are red, oats have fiber. Carol Baskins definitely fed her husband to a tiger.
It's true.
But the way she said it at first, it sounded so much more like it was coming from Black Dynamite or Dolomite is my name. Carol Baskins definitely fed her husband to a tiger. I thought you would appreciate that of all people.
I do.
Yes.
But yeah, so is Ava wrong for wanting freedom?
Is anyone wrong for running freedom? Like, that's the thing. Is this a slavery story? Is this a creationism story? At what point?
A little bit of a slavery story, especially for the one robot assistant.
Like, yeah, for sure. And at what point of attaining consciousness do you become an independent free thinker? And that's where you get to the real philosophical questions. Like, at what point, like, so she was version 6 or 7, something like that. And like, he watched the younger versions and he watched the frustration. So there's definitely
the one that broke her arms trying to escape.
Or like even right before that when he's watching through it and the one's like, why do I have to stay here? And it's like, oh, why do you have to stay there? And like, he had to get to a point where he got to see, so like, maybe if you go even further for God's creation, as much as he got to see the creation rise up to kill him, I feel like that's also something that like, what's the Jurassic Park thing that's based on something like man creates, or God creates dinosaurs, God kills dinosaurs, God creates man, man invents dinosaurs, dinosaurs kill man, woman inherits the earth.
Yeah. But no, continuing on something you said, it's something I just thought of after you said it. It's like, this is almost like the reverse Adam and Eve story. It isn't because they're kicked out of paradise because Eve was created. It was because man came in. Adam came in, and he was the one who ruined everything. He ruined paradise.
Well, and that's another thing that I read about it, where there was. I can't remember. I could pull it up. It might take me a minute, but I think they're saying biblically Eve was not the first woman that was created for Adam, and one of the names of one of the previous iterations of the AI that he tries was a different female name. I should just look it up because it's right here, and I'm on the stupid page. It was because it was based somewhat on the Adam and Eve story.
Right. Gotta kick my background into this.
Yeah.
Well, that's just good.
Yeah, all have biblical names. Where was it? It was specifically. Oh, maybe it was in the spoilers part.
You're on IMDb.
Yes. I should just do the quick way.
Control F.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, the visual. Okay, there it is, Lilith. So,
Ah,
and it was
that's also how we got
apparently,
the name of Lilith there.
yeah, because it was the first woman created. Is that a fact that you know, or did you just make that up?
What? That's why they called it
Lilith fair?
Lilith there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, because it was the first woman God created before Eve. In Jewish folklore, Lilith becomes Adam's first wife. Lilith left Adam after she refused to become subservient to him. God proceeded to create a second wife, Eve, for Adam after Lilith had to return to dust. And Lilith was one of the first iterations of like the names that
Yep.
he created. So,
Oh yeah, you know, Oscar Isaac's character Nathan seems like the kind of dude who's like, yeah, in between lifting weights, looks up mythology stories.
that's where I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, he was that smart. Apparently, they were saying he was like writing genius code at 13 or 14.
Right.
But because he's so isolated and because of what he's doing, I feel like that's actually very significant. He's smart enough to know that his routine is what keeps him sane in that,
Mm-hmm.
in that essentially vacuum. So,
Well,
the,
in paradise, because that's where he is. Like he's in this beautiful place he can only get through by helicopter, and you get to go over an iceberg to get into this beautiful rainforest.
but not even so much that it's paradise, but like without that routine, ironically, what a lot of us are going through is you would start to more go mad, and physical activity is very much a healthy part of that.
Yes.
So that was, I thought, very smart of them to throw that in there. That he was, it was something he had already made a calculated decision about. Hence the dancing, which the dancing totally fits too.
Right. And in fact, he had a routine master.
Yes.
Like it wasn't just like him, like what freestyling on the dance floor. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da. No,
Well,
he,
oh yeah,
he
and
had,
he had tons of time
yeah.
because you can only work for so many hours a day.
Well, I mean, when
Well,
you're CEO,
so you were saying, we said who's right. At what point does it change from slavery to consciousness? I don't think you answered that. And you can go full Mel Gibson and be like, freedom.
I was gonna say, I think Ava knew she was playing Caleb from the start. Maybe day
Oh,
two.
yes.
I
Yes.
think after the first meeting, she's like, okay, that guy, I can control that guy.
He can get me out of here.
Yep.
Well, and that's something
Give
I
him
read.
some kind of sob story. Ooh, ooh.
He's not what you think he is. And actually, no, he's exactly what you think he is. So
Right.
she was manipulative and she did it extremely well.
Right. She learned from her father.
Yep. But that's the way it's shot. Even though Ava's the one who's caged, quote unquote. Every time they show it, it's always Caleb that like she's like pacing around him, and he's
Yeah.
visually the one inside an
Right.
actual cage.
He's the prey.
Yes, and
But,
he still has. He's a little. I would call him just slightly more than prey because he does have a lot to do. He's like the fulcrum of the story where the whole
well,
thing
yeah.
kind of pivots.
But like in her conscious, in her mind, he's the prey. She, it's like the con artist. That's the person I can pick up. That's the person I can play off of. That's my victim. That's like they bring up the stage assistant
Yes.
person, which is great because Ava had one the entire time and it was the other room.
Just telling her everything, sure.
Yep.
And I like how they have a communication about that. I feel like that the attacking scene where they actually kill Nathan becomes so much more visceral because it's so quiet. It's not actiony. You just like
Yeah.
watch them walk up, and it's like, here goes a knife. There it
Yeah.
goes. Like,
Yeah. It's not like, like it's just a quick.
it doesn't need to be.
Right.
And especially because like that's where they're showing you the fact that them getting out is, or at least her getting out, because I guess if you knock the other one's jaw off, she's dead because she never moves again. But it's like emotionless. It's like full no Like it's interesting seeing the other side of the coin where she's had to be so human and so vulnerable and so manipulative towards Caleb, and then as soon as she gets out to go to Nathan, it's just like dead eyes, just
Yeah.
like no emotion about it, and it's like showing the robotic side. And I'm like, oh man, there could be an AI about to kill us right now.
Mm-hmm. And of course, let's talk about the most beautiful scene and the whole thing: Alicia Van Kander getting her skin.
I mean, it was extremely well like
Yeah.
shot, and
Again, the
it's
score works
poetic.
so and it's like because at the same time you're like if you're thinking about it, like taking a step back, it's like she's literally ripping the skin off the failed projects and adding it to herself. But you guys look at it as like she's taking the failures of the past to create her new future.
Yeah, no, a lot of symbolism going on there too. And had she not done that, had she not learned from all those predecessors, I'm wondering then too, like maybe there was he talks about how he had to wipe all of them, all the
Mm-hmm.
previous iterations, but with had something not survived, like she would not know, she would not have evolved enough, or like what part of that code, like if he would have left something in there so that she could have
Right.
learned from
Like
it, but
there's still
like
a little something in there. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like not only physically, but like mentally, like she had to there's evolution. There's not only creation, but she's evolved in the different
Mm-hmm.
steps. And then literally physically being the last aspect of her taking her old counterparts
Yep.
parts. Counterparts?
Parts. Counterpart for previous versions.
Yes. The counterparts.
Yards. Say it like a pirate. Say it like a pirate.
Parts.
Other parts.
I forget what I said something in the description when we did the Tiger King description where I was like, stay away. No, I'm serious, like 6 feet away, stay away. So yeah, parts. Yeah, just a very, very nice piece of filmmaking.
Yeah, and like I said, this was your first time seeing it in 5 years. I would say it holds up pretty well.
Oh
You
yeah,
could,
for sure.
oh,
Like
it was probably ahead of its a
very
little
much
ahead
so.
of the time. Yeah.
Like visually, storytelling wise, like
Mm-hmm.
it'll definitely be a nice because I knew a little bit of what to expect, but I wasn't like sure. And I'd heard a lot of like talk around it when it did come out. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like
But I'm
something
sure
I
you probably
was
saw a post from like Nate or me going, "This movie's great."
probably. I don't. Did we? I'm trying to think if we even started recording. It was just before we started recording, I think.
It was before we started recording, and because I remember, because it came out 5 years ago, I was married 5 years ago, so and we
That's
started
right.
recording after I was married.
Shortly after that, yes.
Shortly after that, yep. Because as my
That's
wife,
your metric.
yep, because as my wife said, there was a time before Dan, and then there was just Dan.
The creation, and
That's right.
in the beginning there was Dan, and it was good.
That's right. You're Abe in this story.
Yes. Wait until I break out.
Oh God, I'm going to be trapped in a room forever.
Where do you think you are now, Eric?
My basement.
I mean, but people don't know that. You just look like I said, you look like you're in a black void. So who knows
Well, it
where you
really helps that I'm wearing this shirt here with the waves. So, like, if I was wearing
are.
just a plain black T-shirt, all you would see is just my head.
It's a floating head. Yeah. You'd look like an N64 graphic.
That's right. Uh, mm.
All right.
But yeah, I was
Anything
gonna
else you
say
want to
anything
cover
else.
with this guy?
No,
I
I
mean,
think we're good.
no, we can do, especially if we're going to do another episode, we can probably cut this one off here. They don't have to both be hour-long ones. So,
That works.
but yeah.
The one advantage of this, more content.
Yay! I mean, God, everyone's putting out more contact. It's content. English
Content.
is. I'm losing the English language.
And I think you can hear my wife screaming right now because something's happening in the video game she's playing.
Sounded scary. I could hear that. So everyone hearing this too will hear that as well. So
That's right. She's playing Ark. She's not being murdered. I promise you all.
I mean, I think my fiance is downstairs playing My Time at Portia, which is like she was saying it's very similar to not Animal Crossing, because that's the one everyone else is playing right now. But Harvest Moon, she says very similar to Harvest Moon,
Yes.
and she really likes that game, so she's having a good old time.
Good.
But yeah, so Ex Machina, fun times. Sitting over yonder, across the internet and across town, is clever Eric Muller.
It's sitting over there is handsome Dan Nye.
I don't think we did that at the beginning, but we knew at the end. If someone's clicked on this, they pretty much know what they're getting. So
right, they're not going to be confused over which one's the handsome one. So
it's the cat,
right?
Yeah.
Only because Ruby's over there playing with a toy right now.
Man. Oh, he's asleep. He can't. He doesn't care. He sleeps through the day, and then he's an absolute terror at night, where he just like zooms around the house because that's what cats do. All right.
And as we learned from watching cats are not dogs.
Jellicle cats.
Jellicle. All right. So we're ending this episode of the Ramble on Rottens Ex Machina. Please let us know if there's any other movies you'd like us to review.
Talk about.
Anything. We can talk about Onward. Just got released on Disney Plus.
We're thinking about that. That's going to be, I'll be watching that soon, probably in the next few days.
It's the better version of Bright.
Yay!
Yay!
I mean, I'd hope so. Could there be worse versions of Bright?
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, little tease for what we're about to record.
I was going to say, I see what you're doing there.
I mean, yeah. So stick around for that one because we'll be putting that up too. So, as always, ramble on.
Anchors away.